What's up, Samurai? We are back in more. Today we're going to be talking about Paragon levels. I know that it is a very old tutorial that I've needed to do for a very long time, but I checked my list of, stuff that I've been wanting to do for Trove, and I noticed that I never ended up making a tutorial on this. So while most of you probably already know everything about this, for those of you that don't know, essentially Trove ended up adding infinite levels to the game. So you'll get to level 30, and then from that point on, you'll be getting Paragon levels. Now, what happens whenever you end up getting a Paragon level is you don't get any stats or anything like in every other game that has Paragon levels. Instead, you'll end up getting various materials that are used for crafting. Primarily, you'll be getting some of the Paragon Allies, which are some of the best in the game outside of the star chart, obviously. But more importantly, you'll get resources so that you can craft ring boxes, namely crystal ring boxes. So you can get crystal 1, 2, and 3 rings, which are also going to end up being class rings. So these all end up having various hidden ring effects and benefits and stuff, which we'll talk about in a bit. The problem is that there is specific resources that you'll end up getting every prime level. So if you Google a chart of prime numbers, that's how the Paragon levels work. It's stupid. I don't know why the devs did it. Essentially, you'll get a Trovian loop for every random level, and then every prime Paragon level, you'll end up getting a primal loop of the given class that you've gotten a prime level on, and you'll get some Paragon pinatas, which Paragon pinatas are some of the most expensive cash shop items in the game. I have an hour video of opening like 10,000 of them and getting garbage out of it. So just FYI. So basically, let's look at the crafting table first. As you end up gaining Paragon levels, it's going to end up taking the same amount of XP per Paragon level, so it doesn't really seem that bad, but Paragon levels can go up to 1,000 before they reset back to 1, which is why it's awful, because the prime numbers become less and less frequent the closer you get to higher number values. So essentially you're getting the prime Paragon levels less and less and less and less and less the more you play the game. So you're essentially being punished for playing the game, which is why I hate this system. So the Trovian loops, as you can see, is most of all going to end up being used for crafting all of these allies and mounts and junk like that. Paragon marks are extremely rare. They drop from Paragon pinatas, but as mentioned, you'll only get Paragon pinatas every prime level. So I'm not getting them very often anymore. And the other thing too is that a lot of times the grinding that I'm doing in this game is very niche. So I'm trying to get like specific items or specific materials. Like right now, I've been farming like crazy to get the last Castle Catastrophe mount, for example. And my point being is that that's not optimal XP gain. And so I'm not actually getting closer and closer to gain a prime Paragon level to get more primal pinatas so that I could potentially get more Paragon marks, because I need a few more of them to craft some of these other items. Anyways, there's lots of people that have really, really high Paragon levels, but more importantly, it's going to be the ring crafting bench. So I've already got our videos that talk about this, but I figured that I would have a dedicated video talking about anything and everything to do with Paragon levels. So in the ring crafting bench, I'm assuming you guys know how professions work. You craft enough things in newbie, you unlock dabbler, you gotta craft things in dabbler to unlock enthusiast, all the way up to one with the loop. So this is where you can start crafting the crystal ring boxes, and these will give you a crystal 1, 2, 3, or 4 rarity ring for the specific class that you craft the box for. But in order to end up crafting these boxes, again, you have to have a primal loop for the specific character, which in this case is going to be the Vanguard. So every prime level I get with the Vanguard, I would get a primal loop. There are going to end up being some other items though. There's the Primal Paragon Cube, which you can craft those with Trovian loops, which is gotten from every Paragon level. And then there's some weekly ones and blah, blah, blah. These essentially, you can open these boxes and it'll give you a prime loop for the class that you are equipped to. So this is another way to start getting prime loops, maybe for a character that you already have like really, really high in the Paragon tree, right? So essentially what happens is you craft the box, you open it, you end up gaining a crystal ring. If you're lucky, you get a really high tier crystal ring. If you're unlucky, you get a garbage ring. But you can actually go further down into the higher tiered ring boxes to start guaranteeing yourself better quality rings. So if we move on to this one right here, you can see guaranteed to be a crystal 2 or better for the rings. Now, these resources will start taking Ringcrafters tickets, which is gotten from loot collecting a crystal 1 or 2 ring. Meaning that you basically would have to craft a bunch of these bad boys, you get a bunch of garbage, you loot collect them all, then you get enough of these Ringcrafters tickets so that you can get this box, which guarantees you a crystal 2 or higher, all the way up into the most expensive, which is going to end up guaranteeing you a crystal 3 or better. Now, the thing is, this is going to take a different ticket, which is the gilded ring crafting ticket, which you can see is from loot collecting a crystal 3 or 4 ring, meaning that you have to get lucky enough on these boxes to get a crystal 3 ring at the minimum so that you can eventually end up crafting these boxes and getting the guarantee. Now, the interesting thing that the game doesn't tell you is that every time you end up crafting one of these boxes, you have a very, very rare chance of getting your hands on, I forget what it's called, but it basically is a box that will guarantee you a crystal 4 ring for that specific class. And the most important, craziest thing about all of this is that all of these ring boxes are tradable. So if we actually will look into the market here, people are selling them for pretty astronomical numbers. If we go all the way to the end, you'll see the golden signatory ring boxes. So again, this is where you would guarantee a crystal 4 ring for that specific class. And I mean, as you can see, you can get quite a bit of flux out of these. Obviously, the most powerful classes and are going to end up being the rarest boxes because everyone's going to want them. And so they're going to end up being the ones that have a pretty hefty price. But then you also get the classes that are the most popular, like Vanguard or Solarian, sorry, for example, where a lot of people are playing it. And so generally speaking, you'll have a lot of boxes for them. Like in this case, it seems like Draco is a really uncommon character that you don't see many people using. Shadowhunter is probably always going to end up being quite expensive just because it's Shadowhunter. No, there's one for like 14 mil. I mean, they're all still very expensive. Now, the thing is, getting the crystal 4 ring is only half the battle because unfortunately there is going to end up being the ring polisher. Now the ring polisher is going to end up taking another prime loop to polish the ring, and the polish is going to last, as you can see, 10 days. But if you have patron, it's going to be 4 extra days on top of that, so 14 days total. I don't ever polish rings because of the fact that I don't earn prime loops often enough to justify getting this temporary buff. Like it just, I don't know, it just doesn't work with my brain, right? But the thing is that these rings actually have 3 different abilities that they can generate with. And so you could get a crystal 4 ring for a character and it's going to give you a huge bump in power. Okay, awesome. But maybe it didn't generate with the polished ability that you want, the ideal one, right? And the thing is, the boxes themselves are what's tradable. Once you have the ring, it of course is not. So just keep that in mind and be careful, because when you are getting these, getting these crystal 4 rings, again, sometimes they could just be like terrible in terms of the polished effect. That is another big reason why I just don't care about the polished effect and I just kind of ignore it. Yeah, I mean, you can see I got a C4 ring. These are the stats of it for a physical character anyway, but I got the energy regen on it. You can also have a different stat on the ring as well. So it really depends on your RNG, because with these rings being as expensive as they are, frankly speaking, I just take what I can get. And I actually got extremely lucky. I think I have a video of it, or maybe it was just a stream and I didn't make a highlight of it because I'm an idiot. But I actually ended up crafting a golden box for both my Shadowhunter and my Lunar Lancer. So they both have my C4 rings. I don't think I have C4 rings on any other character. But anyways, long overdue tutorial. Definitely one that I needed to do probably like a year ago, but better late than never. I still have a lot of other weird tutorials to end up doing with Trove, but the next primary video is more than likely going to end up being us continuing the Leviathan challenge, but I'm still going to end up streaming Trove probably before then, because again, I'm still trying to get the last Gemerald mount. Anyways, smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have a wonderful day, everybody.